Hi, this is Dreamer Simone again. I'm trying to help you have some understanding, and me too, to try to get it to my daughter so that she can have some understanding of this Wizard of Oz stuff that's going around. That's biblical truth too, as well as I just found where it's actually a monetary understanding as well. You'd be surprised how the analytical mind comprehends this, where the uh, outwardness of us does not. That doesn't mean that you're crazy or you're so-called something else, but some of those people in those rubber suits of the matrix that they've actually made themselves doesn't want that to happen. So we have to be very, very aware of where we stand, and I hope they are too, because I hope they can overcome. Because our garments is supposed to be the armor of God and the right to bear arms, which is actually our coat of arms that we have, which is our names and our genealogies. That was actually in a reading Nehemiah today, that you had to hold close to the genealogy. And so beware of the ones who tells you not to, because the thing of it is, when we play tug of war, that was actually the way it really was. When you had that big sinkhole in the middle, you don't want to have to be put in a sinkhole, and I don't think Jeff Bush wanted that either. Just recently, God made a sinkhole for him. So you wanted to be connected and be friends with your neighbors, and even if you don't say anything, that's a politeness in itself. So here we go. Is the next version of this. I hope it helps. Guess I need to change the tape over. This one's called Mind and Heart, and so I'm enjoying revisiting this series from 2003. Well, okay, we don't get into some problems here. Okay, it's working. It's just a matter of time till it kicks in. I hope this helps you. God, I got one of them bad hair days.
What we learned about Dorothy last week is that she had outgrown the farm in Kansas. She was ready to stretch and grow, and it's kind of lonely when your consciousness has outgrown your surroundings. She knew there had to be something better. But first, her life was turned upside down by a tornado, just as our lives often go through some chaos as we grow. So we talked about Toto, the little dog, the part of Dorothy's soul that leads her into experiences and circumstances she might not have chosen for herself, but that contribute to her growth. We talked about, thank you, the power of the ruby slippers. Berkeley ruby slippers. And at this point, Dorothy knows that they're worth holding on to. She just doesn't know why. As she goes off down the elevator. Thank you, Judy. That was amazing. I saw that from you. So what we learned about the ruby slippers, what we said is that they represent principle or divine law. They are the spiritual laws that are available for us to use as much or as little as we want. I have to probably say as consciously as we want, because we can't not be using spiritual laws. Like the law of mind action that we talk about all the time, the one that says we are attracting to ourselves people and experiences and things according to our beliefs. That's operating whether we're conscious of it or not. So Dorothy has the slippers on, she's just not conscious of how to use them yet. And she's been on just 2 minutes by this point. She's already celebrated the death of one witch and been threatened by another. And she's just saying she wants to go home. But all the munchkins and the good witches were ignored, and the people around her advised her to look outside herself for answers. Go and see the Wizard of Oz. So off she goes. Until she comes to a crossroads, and she isn't sure what to do. She doesn't trust herself to figure it out. She might be wondering whether she has the brains to get to Oz, and she needs some Oz. Who said that? It's a silly kid. That's down that way, too. That's funny. Wasn't he turning the other way? Of course, people do go both ways. Well, you did say something, didn't you? Well, you don't want to purpose. I thought you make up your mind. That's the trouble. I can't make up my mind. I haven't got a brain. Oh, no. How can you talk if you haven't got a brain? I don't know. But some people without brains do an awful lot of talking, don't they? Yes, I guess so wrong. Well, we haven't really met properly, have we? Why, no. How do you do? How do you do? Very well, thank you. Oh, I'm not doing it all. You see, it's very tedious being stuck up here all day long with a hole up your back. Well, that must be terribly uncomfortable. Can't you get down? Down? No, you see, I'm well, Oh, can't you? I can help you. Oh, that's very kind. Very kind. I don't quite see how I can... Of course, I'm not right about doing things. But if you just bend the nail down in the back, maybe I'll slip off and just... Oh, yeah. Oh, there goes some of you again. Oh, no, just keep picking it up and putting it back in again. Why? Ready? Come on, tear you? No. But you hurt yourself. But I didn't tear you? No, of course not. I didn't think so. Good. You see? I can't even tear a crow. They come from miles and miles just to eat my feelings and laugh in my face. Oh, I'm a failure because I haven't got a brain. Well, what would you do with a brain if you had one? Brain? Why, if I had a brain, I could while away the hours, confirm and work the flowers, consult and work the rain. I'd be scratching my phone, raising action if my own brain. I'd unravel every little thinking it could be an operation if you only had a brain. Oh, the ocean near the shore. I could do the things I never supposed before. And then I could think some more. I would not be just a number. My heart all full of stuffing, my heart all full of pain. I would dare and be very life would be a thing again if I only had a brain. Very good story. Why, if our scarecrow back in Kansas could do that, the crows would be scared to pieces. They would? Where's Kansas? That's where I live. And I want to get back there so badly I'm going all the way to Emerald City to get the Wizard of Oz to help me. You're going to see a wizard? Hmm? Do you think if I went near you, this wizard would give me some brains? I couldn't say. But even if you didn't, you'd be no worse off than you are now. Yes, that's true. But maybe you better not. I've got a witch mad at me and you might get into trouble. Witch? I'm not afraid of a witch. I'm not afraid of anything. Yes. Except a rather rich. I don't blame you for that. But I'd face a whole box full of them for the chance of getting some brains. Look, I'm not in any trouble because I don't need to think. And I'm not trying to manage things because I can't think. Won't you take me with you? Why, of course I will. Hooray! We're off to see a wizard. Oh, well, you're not starting off very well. Oh, I'll try. Really, I will. To what? To what? They all take go together to look for answers outside of themselves. Notice the Scarecrow immediately identified himself as brainless. That was his introduction. So, first of all, some of us tend to do that. We label ourselves in some way that might stick with us all of our lives. Carolyn Mace wrote her second book because she met a woman who, within seconds of being introduced, identified herself as an incest survivor. And Carolyn Mace's book was called Why People Don't Heal and How They Can. We don't heal because we hold on to wounds. We identify whatever we think is wrong with us and attach that label forever. A lot of us decide in childhood how we are failing to measure up. And then we just make that our identity. And not only that, the Scarecrow is wrong. We can see right away that he's got smart. He's the only one. He's the one who thinks, you know, if you bend the nail down in the back, maybe I'll fall off. And throughout the movie, the Scarecrow is the one with great ideas whenever they're needed. But he sees himself as a failure because he can't scare crows. He's trying his best to conform to society's expectations, and that's just not who he is. He's not scary. Scary crows is busy work. It's busy work. If we keep our brains occupied with busy work and then beat ourselves up all the time, we'll never raise our consciousness or do any good for the world. But you got to give the Scarecrow credit. He wanted to get down off that post. He could have rationalized staying up there. Okay, sure, maybe it's boring, and all right, scaring crows is not really something I'm good at, but the job security is great. And when he falls off the post, he falls to his knees and all the way to the ground. It's a long fall from up there, and we might get bruised when we hit bottom. True intelligence, also known as wisdom, has two parts to it. One is logic, and the other is intuition. We get confused about logic. We'll argue that, well, logically we should keep the job security. We'll argue that logically we'll get hurt if we fall off that post. We're confusing logic with fear. Real logic wouldn't tell us to lead unsatisfying lives. Logic tells us that life is short and precious. It would tell us to be happy and appreciate every day. Logic would tell us to take care of our lives with healthy living and interesting work and happy relationships. Intuition, the other part of intelligence, doesn't even require thinking. We just get quiet and let it flow. In fact, it's best to act on it without overthinking it. We let the wisdom of the universe speak to us in quiet times. It's something we can always tap into and trust. Scarecrow's actually pretty good at logic and intuition, all the while claiming he hasn't got any brains. And a man's an empty nothing, his head all full of stuffing. And we could see him wasting his life based on his false beliefs about himself. So we're delighted when he joins Dorothy on her journey to Oz to get help from the wizard, even though we know it's not really necessary for either one of them. They continue on their journey, and they meet another friend.
What do you think you're doing?
walking a long ways and I was hungry and... Say something?
She was hungry. Say you was hungry. Well, how would you like to have someone come along and pick something off of you?
Oh, dear. I keep forgetting I'm not in Canada.
Come along, Dorothy. You don't want any of those apples. Are you eating my apples on what they ought to be?
Oh, no. It's just that she doesn't like little green worms.
Oh, no.
Hey! A man made out of tin! Dear! Did you say something? He said oil can.
Oil can what?
Oil can? Oh, excuse me. Where do you want to be on first?
What is that?
Did that hurt?
No, it feels wonderful. I've held that axe up for ages.
Goodness. How did you ever get my face?
Well, about a year ago, I was chopping that tree when suddenly it began to rain. And right in the middle of the chop, I lost the sound. Then it was ever since.
Well, you're perfect now.
My neck. Perfect? Bang on my chest if you think I'm perfect. Go ahead, bang on it. What a nickel. It's empty. The tinsmith forgot to give me a heart. No heart? No heart. All hollow. When a man's an empty fellow, he should be on his mettle, and yet I'm torn apart. Just because I'm human, I could be crying if I think everything, and I'm not even loving us. I keep on nervous sorrows, and a boy who shoots the arrows if I only had a heart. Jealousy, devotion, and really feel the part. I could stay young and chipper, and I'd lost it with a zipper. If I only had a heart.
review this scene from the beginning. I love it when the apple tree claps her hands. How would you like it if somebody picked something off of you? And she's shocked. She knows the rules have changed on this journey. She's worried that she doesn't have enough compassion for this new place. She hurt somebody without meaning to, and that's when she meets the Tin Man, who claims that he can't love because he doesn't have a heart. We all know a Tin Man. Don't you know people who are rusted solid, who've been frozen in place for years? Now he lets us know it's been exhausting to hold that pose all this time. But he was stricken with rage. He was just going about his life, minding his own business, and something unexpected happened, and he's been frozen in place ever since. People who don't feel. He's labeled himself a hollow man, just bang on his chest. Does he sound hollow if somebody banged on you? I think a lot of us are afraid that we're empty, or at least feel empty. And the Tin Man's lament is, if only. If I only had a heart. Well, that's a song we sing too. If only I had more money, a bigger house, a partner, a better job. If only then I'd be happy. I know I've said this before, and actually I'm really preaching to myself tonight. But we can't wait for outer circumstances to change in order for us to be happy. Or we'll have a very long wait. Because there will always be something that seems less than perfect, usually something we can't even control. In other words, other people. We can't control them. We can only decide how we are going to show up, who we want to be, how we want to react or act, and how we want to think about it all. And in the Tin Man, like the Scarecrow, we can see that he already has everything he needs. He's singing, if only, about something that's so obvious to us. He's already a loving, caring, giving guy. He's got a big heart. What's interesting is how he and Scarecrow become stronger together, the head and heart in combination. Remember the scene later on in the poppies where Dorothy and the lion fall asleep? It's the head and the heart in combination that stay conscious. Well, okay, these particular characters panic and scream for help, but at least they're awake. Wisdom and love never stop working on our behalf, even when we're not aware of it. Now, at the end of the movie, as you know, the Scarecrow is given a diploma, and to him that makes a big difference. To us, it affirms what he has been all along. I remember seeing friends who were ordained at the end of ministerial school and who were saying, now I'm a minister. I've seen the minister in them all along. The Scarecrow's on a new road now. He has to take more responsibility. We all have to take responsibility for our thoughts. Once we know that they have creative power, we have to, or at least might want to, do our best to focus them on where we want them to be, on what we want in our lives. The economy currently and the possibility of war can be giving us nightmares every night and worries all day long. And I, like I think a lot of you, am struggling to be in the world but not of it. I still think it's important to know what our fellow human beings on the planet are experiencing and not to get bogged down in fear and negative vibrations. That's no help at all. That means this is hard work. This is where all our cheerful pronouncements about changing our thinking so we can change our lives get really grown up and serious. When we can hold a high vibration of consciousness while all the world seems to be going to hell around us, then we will create the lives we truly want and the world that we want. So the Scarecrow has to grow up now. He has to learn to focus his thoughts because he's a co-creator with God. And the Tin Man gets his heart, but before long, it's breaking. Personally, I believe we sign up for that when we take human forms. It may even be one of the reasons we came. You know, on the other side, everything is probably just bliss and easy. Down here on this very dense planet, we form attachments, we get caught up in drama, and our hearts break. Maybe that intensity is part of the reason we came. We might have thought our souls grow deaf in this environment. Most of the time it helps me to think that I volunteered for all this. Some days, of course, I wonder what in the world I was thinking. But just as we can see the brains and the heart in the Scarecrow and the Tin Man, even though they can't see it, we are filled with divine power that we may not see. Others can see it, and don't they tell you about it? Do you ever find yourself sort of reflecting affirmations from other people about who you are as a divine being on this earth? We are, each one of us, equipped with everything we need to carry out our purposes as human beings, to be spiritual beings having a human experience, because we can tap into the divine anytime. In fact, we can't not be connected. We can only become more aware of the power that's always flowing through us. There will be times when what we encounter demands great courage, but I'm getting ahead of the story. Next week, we will learn more about courage. Feel free to come in costume as we learn how to face lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hope you liked it. Didn't mean for it to go black off, but nonetheless, we're not going that route. Remember, that's not part of us anymore. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you could survive my vacuuming over there. Yeah. If not, let me know, and I'll be happy to try to get it edified. Thank you.